Why hello there, fellow metallurgists. Radaman here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival. Episode 7. Beautiful Bounty of Bronze. At the start of the stream, I am going to be rushing towards the Bronze Age. So my current priority is obtain 1,000 units bronze material. So what that means is mostly copper and a little bit of tin. And that is what we're working on. My food and water is pretty all set up. My backpacks are set up. I've got spare food. And the first thing we're going to want to do is probably head over to some of the closest native copper bits that we had found. So I'm going to pin the closest picking and go dig that stuff up. So I have my pick on me and I left my hammer behind. And what we're going to want to do is just mine as much of that copper as possible, exhausting the entire supply. Now, I don't yet have a prospecting pick. That was the third tool I was going to make. And it actually, before I leave, it does remind me that my molds should be done. Right? Yes. So ingot molds, anvil mold, jugs, and storage. And then here is the Pro Pick mold. So the purpose of this Pro Pick mold is it serves two purposes. One, it can help you find the chance to find certain materials like iron, copper, tin, etc. And then two, it can also tell you if there's anything nearby. So it helps you to mine out and exhaust a supply of stuff, which is important. Does the Homo Sapien mode lock me out of riding an elk later? Oh, hi, hyena. Why would it? What Homo Sapien mode does is there's no traders. So, if a production chain requires traders or, like, found items in ruins, so, like, obviously there's no translocating, you know, things like that just don't exist. That helps to answer your question. Alright, it looks like there's some hyenas, like, relatively close to the excavation site for the copper. So I found the copper right around here, and we're going to dig around here. Before I go down to get the copper, I might as well just top up my termites. I'm just going to keep eating termites until I establish a permanent base. Basically, I don't want to bother... I'm not butchering until I have, like, a proper butchering tools, because I have the butchering mod, and that would mean if I hunted something now, I would get a tiny fraction of what it's worth. And then I'm not starting farming until I know where I'm going to want to live. Because, you know, why bother sowing seeds only to then abandon them? So there should be copper. Maybe it's more like this way. I just don't want to flood myself. Alright, let's start digging the granite. One of the nice things I just realized about these settings, of course, is I'm not going to have drifters spawning down here with me. Because normally when you mine copper, like, drifters, you know, basically zombies, will, like, try to murder you. But there aren't any. So, normally, like, especially early game when you don't have a lot of armor, when you go underground to start mining, you end up just, like, getting mobbed. There we go. Found some. And, well, I'm not going to get mobbed because there aren't any drifters. So this is medium quality copper. That's not bad. I can live with that. And we obviously found a decent note of it. And what I would like to do is, at this point, not make any more copper tools, ever, if I can help it. So I'm going to try to exhaust this mine here. And then also I'll go after the cassiterite before I break any of my tools. Because if I broke my tools, I could repair them, but like, I want to move away from copper tools. Basically, copper tools are very limited to tier 2 stones. So I'm not going to be able to get like quartz and gold and silver with a copper tool, nor will I be able to get iron. So moving away from copper tools as fast as I can, using them as like backup tools. Tools in case I like break everything else and have nothing. Wow, this node was plentiful. There's a lot of copper down here. So in order to enter the Bronze Age, what I mean by that, I guess I should specify for an anvil and tools. One of the first castings I'm going to make is an anvil, so that we can hammer out ingots to make a variety of things. One of the most important tools that you can get early on, in my opinion, especially in hot biomes, is a saw. Because once you have a saw, you'll be able to make doors. So there is a crude door. Well, all right, let me back up. The purpose of the door is doors will allow you to enclose a space, which allows you to make food cellars to prevent food from spoiling so fast. So that's another reason why I haven't bothered to start hunting or trapping, like fishing in earnest, because the food that I obtained would spoil almost immediately. So there's virtually no point until I'm able to make a cellar. Now, the reason why I didn't just like put down and pick up hay grass blocks is this is a role-playing series. So I'm not gonna like bury my food multiple times a day. That's like deranged behavior. But a cellar is a room that is no larger than, I think, 7 by 7 by 7, I believe. And it allows you to preserve your foods so that they don't get ruined. One of the things I want to do is I am not going to remove this here. So the native copper base I'm going to get rid of. The copper ore I'm going to leave the other marking because I'm not 100% sure I've exhausted it. There still might be copper left in there. And I'm not really going to know until I get a prospecting pick. So I'm going to leave the marker there with the orange ladder, indicating that there could be more copper. You know, I'm not sure. All right. Now that we have some copper, oh, even more hyenas. I'm going to want to... And I know we had fresh water at home, but like I have so many termites that are going to spoil before I eat them all. I'm going to go back into the caves and get a little cassiterite after hammering this copper out. Ooh, speaking of caves. That's a deadly one. Mayhaps I'll mark that. So I'd previously been marking caves as like black here, indicating that they're not searched yet. 7 by 7 by 7 is correct? Yeah, I thought so. I think it maybe at some point in time was 5 by 5 by 5, and then they enlarged it. Maybe that's in my imagination. But it's hard to keep up with like all the little change logs. I don't really bother. This oak seed sprouting here is going to be annoying, but well, whatever. Okay, grabbing the hammer. We can then drop the nuggets in here and smash them for the... Oops. Hold shift. Smash them for the copper that is inside. And if you're wondering, this is a lot of copper. So I will... where's my... There it is. if we had melted all this copper, this is over 1,000 units of copper, 1460. I only need about 1,100 units of it in order to level up. And how you wonder I calculate that is I want 900 for the anvil. Anvils require 900. Then I need 100 for the pro pick. Maybe another 100 for the bronze pick to upgrade my bronze pick. And when will I consider moving to the permanent location? Probably as soon as I enter this the Bronze Age, more or less. Okay, so now that that's done, I know that I'm gonna want some dirt to be able to traverse the caves. But let's head over to this cave entrance here, or this cave here, cave for tin, and go get some tin. And I really don't need a whole lot of it. Oh, drop off the stones? Yeah, that's a good call. I don't need a whole lot of tin in order to make the bronze. So if you're wondering, you can always hit like H for the handbook, and we take a look at bronze ingots, and I'm going to be making tin bronze specifically. So tin bronze ingots are 8 to 12% tin and 88 to 92% copper. So the vast majority of my bronze is copper, which is why I don't need a lot of tin. Alright. Because I'm heading into a cave, it doesn't really matter that it's becoming nighttime because it was going to be dark down there anyway. Some of these other cave entrances are pinned and they ought not to be. Okay, there we go. I need like 16 for an anvil and a pick. Maybe like 18 or 20 for more than that. The thing is, that amount is like 3 or 4 chunks of tin. And one of the tin nodes I found down here was like plentiful. Yeah, I'll mark down the turnips. So in being plentiful, I barely need to do any mining in order to get the tin. Alright, I have already marked down its location. Forget exactly where it is, but it should stand out. I think I had to double back this way. Whoa! Okay, let's not do that. I don't believe it was down that way. I didn't fully search this area. Yeah, this feels familiar. Yep, there it is. Bountiful cassiterite. And being bountiful means, like, I really don't need a lot of these nodes in order to get, like, a ridiculous amount of tin. It's beautiful. Because I don't want to have to come down here a lot, I'm going to overmine it now. So I'll get, like, I don't know, 20 nuggets or something like that. Should be plenty. It's odd seeing caves with no danger? Yes. The other thing I could do with this. So there's a lot that you can make with tin, like all the tools. One of the useful things that we could consider, maybe not immediately, but eventually, would be armor. So, tier 2 armor, because I'm not going to be going up against a whole lot of enemies that are greater than tier 2. So to back things up, most animals clock in at tier 2, which means a tier 2 animal I wonder if I can handbook this. Like a wolf. It doesn't even say. If you have an armor rated at the same tier as the enemy, it will work effectively. So wearing a tier 1 piece of armor against a tier 2 enemy is not that effective, and it will wear down your armor and it won't protect you very well. Most of the enemies that I'm going to be encountering around the equator are going to be tier 2-ish. There's not going to be a lot of bears. Like polar bears would be the hardest, and then grizzlies. Brown bears are not as hard. My point being, with all the bronze that I get, I could make lamellae. So if I took the bronze and cast it into lamellae molds, lamellae makes protection tier 2 armor. Not amazing stuff, but like certainly better than me being currently naked. So that's another potential for all of this bountiful bronze. Archmage, thank you for the resub and for the luck. Ooh, that's creepy. Oh no, I just mined back around. All right, I'm gonna that's enough. I have 20. Well, let's do a full 30 nuggets. 30 nuggets is fine. I can always come back for more. I don't necessarily want to break my pick mining tin. That doesn't seem like a particularly wise idea. So there we go. We got all the tin and copper we need for some awesome Bronze Age action. This water is actually kind of useful. I can follow the noise of the water back up to the surface, which is sweet. It is dark. Okay. Let's go make some bronze. Am I going to get bismuth bronze or just tin bronze? I don't have bismuth. I don't even really have zinc. Actually, I did find some bismuth, but not a node of zinc. So there's no point in trying to make bismuth bronze because I would just need to go spelunking for material. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Don't move the goalposts. I'm already at the 1 yard line. How's that for an answer? Alright. It's probably been a while since I reset the torches. By resetting, I mean they will break without, you know, being reset. Bangface, thank you for the resub. Alright, 120. That is a plentiful amount. The other thing... Oop, give me my torch back. Is... we're gonna need to grab some of the... oops. Charcoal that I made. In order to try to conserve fuels, I'll do as much preheating with wood as possible. So let's get this going. Grab my copper. And let's see. What are we going to want? Let's think about that for a moment. Let's do a mold for everything. So let's do hammer, pickaxe. Okay, this is, I want it overhead so it doesn't get wet. So I'm gonna need to move these, shells. Oh, 3 shells! I just invented the toilet. And kids, if you don't get the reference, you can ask your parents. Alright, so we got pickaxe, or pick hammer, pro pick. We'll do anvil mold. And then 2 ingots. Oh, come on. I hate when you are holding one ingot mold and won't let you pick up the other one, even though they stack. It's like, why? Game, why? Unnecessary. Alright, so 100, 200, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1400. Yeah, okay, 1400 bronze. That is what we're aiming for. So to explain, the ingot molds here, one will become maybe a chisel, and the other one maybe a saw blade. Something like that. Oops. I'm bad with the hotkeys. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. Game. There we go. Oh my god. Brain can't handle the, That's left control. Come on. Actually, how much tin was that? Or copper? Let's reduce that. I'll get the hotkeys one day. Here we go. And I could whip out a calculator. I'm just going to do it this way, where we'll add it until it, tells us the recipe is correct. Maybe I'll brute force this. Okay, that's tin bronze. That's 1530 of tin bronze. So let's do 20. And what we're aiming for is like the lowest tin content, because copper is going to be easier to source. So this is 1570. Come on. Is this still really too much copper? Okay. Give me half of that. Here we go. We're on the right track. So we'll do 22. And... oh, 23. There. Got there eventually. Okay. So there's our 1400 tin bronze units. Now we're going to want some firewood in order to preheat it. And because it's a large volume of stuff, it's going to take a while to preheat. That's normal. And the firewood should bring it up to close to 700, and then we'll do the rest with the charcoal, obviously, because all right, that jug is empty, so we're gonna need to boil up a new jug. That's fine. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be finding any peat near the equator. Peat fields is more of like a temper forest type of thing. So I think it's very unlikely that we're going to be able to do anything with peat. Well, now that that is cooking up, we've got our tongs. I guess I could start a new fireplace to boil up some water. We're almost at temperature here. Yeah, I'll probably start a new fireplace so I can boil water and then maybe make some more food while I wait. Okay, switching it over to charcoal. And we'll set up another cooking spot here. You know what? That's a bad spot, because I'm just going to step on it and burn myself. I know me well. Put it in the corners. Alright, 3 liters of water coming up. There isn't a block over the ingot molds? You are correct, there is not. There is now. Oops. Now there's too many. I may need a chimney here. Let me just pop a hole out so the smoke has somewhere to go. Don't need to be asphyxiating myself. Also, one of the consequences... Oh, this is a soup. 16 hours, 3 servings. I should... Okay. I won't make another food. I'll just use that soup. One of the consequences of the smoke mod is if something gets too smoky, it will extinguish the fires. And there we go. The tin bronze is becoming molten. That is boiled water. Perfect. Let's make another batch of boiled water. I did make other jugs. So I could, not be at the mercy of my hydration so much. Because stews are a little bit more flexible, recipe-wise, than soups. Stews allow you to have mostly proteins, whereas soups require vegetables? Really? Fine. All on one stack. There you go. So 6 more liters of boiled water. So we'll have 9 liters of boiled water once we're done. Alright, crucible. You're about 1/3 of the way heating up to melting temp. But yeah, if you mismanage your fire, your smoke, you will extinguish, it will actually put your fires out. And put you out, too. So, caution. Because, you know, you probably don't want to kill yourself that way. I don't think killing yourself is all that easy, but you will start to harm yourself. Alright, doing a little fishing. Well, no. Doing a little trapping. This is more trapping than fishing, let's be honest. Alright. Looking good. This is boiled water. Perfect. That was weird. Stacked strange. Yep, okay. They're all boiled water. If you say so. So once we are in the Bronze Age with our Bronze Age tools, I would like to decide where to live exactly. I had mentioned wanting to live on a lake near the ocean. The ocean because it has ocean water, which is going to be very handy for making salt to preserve food. And then on a lake so that I have a source of fish. So like a lake like that might be decent. Because it's adjacent to both. It is, however, if I picked a lake like that, it's rather far from like a lot of other points of interest. This looks pretty flat out that way. That might be a fun lake. Now, the world gen I have has like 50% land, 50% water, which means using sailboats is a lot more viable than most runs. It's one of the problems I have with like default vintage story world gen is like there are sailboats, but there's nowhere to sail. Like there's just literally nowhere to sail because almost everything is landlocked, which is a bit of a head scratcher. Hooker, why did your message not send? I don't know. I don't know what message. Kind of hard to say. Also, Cathanon, thank you for the resub. By the by. I probably won't need more charcoal in there, but I just wanted to add it in case I needed it. Is there not a lot of woods in the area? There are. So these tree clusters are woods. There were redwoods. I think the redwoods were here. These are redwoods. And these are oaks. So like, if I settle around here, I wouldn't need wood because like, these are all redwoods. So like that pond, it's rather small, but like that pond would be rather viable too. Although that's somewhat far away from where I currently live. I don't necessarily want to go that far. But analyzing where there is good forest cover would be definitely another factor worth considering. Once I get metal shears, I'll be able to replant whatever forest I want, though. So I'm not too worried about that. So as soon as the crucible has the molten metals, I'll pull out the remaining charcoal so we don't waste it, and then we'll do our pours. All right, I'm gonna pull out the charcoal now. Get ready with the tongs. Scorpio, thank you for the gifted subs. Cheers. And there it is. Don't spill it. Whoops. Wrong button. Holding left shift and holding right mouse. And there is our anvil mold. It's going to be a minute for the tin bronze to cool so that I can affix sticks to it to claim my new tools, but Bronze Age, baby! Yeah, I've been playing other games that have, like, different control schemes, and that's what's been, like, busting my brain while I keep misclicking everything. Alright. So we've got all the brown stuff. Let's dig up the remaining charcoal, because if I am going to be moving, we're not obviously going to want to leave charcoal here in the ground. You asked if smoke can damage the character, but phrased it as if I was harming myself. Yeah, it's probably like a self-harm filter. This shovel is toast. I know there's a little bit of durability left on it, but I'll just huck it. Okay, the next thing I want to do is prep a spot for smithing. I'm going to be smithing my initial tools here, and then taking the show on the road later on. So the only thing we really need for smithing, it's pretty straightforward, but I just want like a balcony. Because again, when you heat things up, ingots up to forge, you don't want them to then subsequently cool down. And then we're going to need to make, speaking of which, a forge. So here's the blueprint for a forge, which is a U shape of cobblestone. And cobblestone is clay in the middle and a bunch of random stones around the edge. It doesn't really matter what random stones there are, they'll all end up as cobblestone. So here's our clay. And we put our stones in here. So lay this out, put that in the middle. And now, we have a forge. And a forge allows you to reheat metals. Now, with the smithing mod, there's other ways to do this, mind you. With the smithing mod, you can actually, if you mouse over the nugget, oops, yeah. If you mouse over the nuggets, there is the smelting temperature in order to melt in a crucible, but then there's also the workable temperature. So if you want to just like take nuggets and work them into a form, you can with the smithing mod. We're heating it up to 542, but not higher than 1084. Has the mod changed how to make better backpacks? No. All of the mods are in the details. So questions about those mods are like pretty easily answered without me having to chime in, because if you don't see mod for backpacks, well then there isn't one. Okay, we are at 700-ish. So it's cooled down a bit, but not enough. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but I'm not looking for any backseating. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow seraphs.